Welcome to yoga, everyone. We are going to start seated today, so get comfortable. Of course, you can always sit on a block if you need to. Have your block and strap close by. We're definitely going to use the block some today because we're going to work on a little bit of pigeon later, which is good for helping open up the hips. So we'll do a little hip work here early, some really gentle ones to help get those hips ready for some pigeon later on. But let's go ahead and start in our comfortable seated position. So find your good posture. Lift the crown of the head, like you're trying to lift your head up off your shoulders to help you lengthen that spine. This good posture is important for our good yoga breathing. So to be able to fill those lungs to their full capacity, you have to be up tall. If you're rounded and hunched and crunched over, we can't take those big full breaths. Our lungs don't have as much room. Our good posture like this is so much better for our internal organs. So find that good breathing, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Slowing everything down. We're going to add the arms in with the breath. So let's inhale as we sweep those arms up, reach for the sky at the top, and then we'll exhale, arms down nice and slow. Inhaling up, exhaling on the way down. Let's do one more. And then we'll place those hands back on the knees. Let's make sure the shoulders are rolled back, and we're going to start to make some circles around our base. Just loosening up here. As we do this, I want to tell you how I'm going to end the class just a little bit differently. I've been having some trouble uploading my videos to YouTube because sometimes they're too long. Let's reverse and go the other direction while I talk. And so in an effort to keep them a little bit shorter, I find that if I can keep them around 55 minutes, that I have easier time uploading them. So I'm going to put you all into relaxation, and then I'm going to stop the recording at the end. That way, let's meet back in the middle. That way, you can relax as long as you want to, and then I can keep that video to a better time to be able to upload it. So that's what we're going to do today. We'll see how that works moving forward. And so I won't be dinging or chiming my little bells today. You'll just come out of relaxation when you're ready. Okay, boy, lost my train of thought here. Okay, so let's do a little bit to feel the hips. So just as you sit here, take into notice like how far your knees are away from the floor. Because people with really tight hips or possibly knee issues, they may have their legs way up here. Okay, that's the hips not being able to release and let those knees drop to the floor. So take that, maybe place a hand underneath the knees, kind of see how far away from the floor you are. Because hopefully later on in class, after we've opened up those hips some, maybe you'll be a little bit better. Maybe those knees will be able to release a little closer to the floor. So let's go ahead. We want to be really tall here. And we're going to kind of pull ourselves forward. So you want to hinge at the hips. So keep your chin up. Try to keep the chest lifted as you hinge forward. So you may get to here and that may be like, whoa, I really feel that in the hips. Okay, so if that's the case, stop. All right, settle into there, breathe. If you feel like you could still go a little further, let's walk those hands out in front of you, but don't let that upper body collapse. Once you get to a spot where you feel some really good sensation, kind of take note of where you are, because we're going to test this again at the end. And breathe. Try to relax. And let's walk it back in. Let's come back up to nice and tall. All right, we're going to grab on to the front of the knees. So this time we're going to inhale, we're going to kind of round it forward. You can kind of relax into this one. And then on the exhale, we're going to round it back, keeping a hold of the shins or the knees. Inhaling forward. Exhaling, you can sigh out this breath if you like. Let's do one more. And on this one, we're going to go ahead and release all the way down to our back. So let's hug those knees and bring the feet side by side. Draw those knees into the chest, and let's give ourselves a little side to side rock. Massage in the low back. And then let's drop those arms out like a T at our sides. We're going to bring the feet down to our mat. Let's take an inhale while the knees are in the center. We're going to exhale as we drop both knees over to the right. We're trying to keep that left shoulder on the floor. Inhaling as we bring knees to center. Exhaling, knees to the left. Take your time with the breathing as you go side to side. Let's do one more on each side. And then we'll meet with those knees back in the center. Okay, so now we're going to do a gentle figure four stretch that is really good for the hips. So we're going to cross the right ankle on top of the left knee. So if that knee is closer to you, you probably have tight hips. If you can get that knee a little further away, that's a little bit more open. But either way, you can feel a good stretch here. We're going to pick the left foot up off the floor. And then just to kind of get a little movement in that area, a little dynamic movement going on, we're going to circle this. And then let's reverse. We'll go the other direction with that little circle. And then let's bring it in the center. So if you have room, reach through and grab the back of that leg, and maybe you can pull this in a little closer. Good, let's release. Left foot down, let's uncross, and we'll do the other leg. So left ankle on top of the right knee, and we'll pick that right foot up. And let's start with those little circles first. Let's reverse, other direction. And then we'll meet back in the center. And here's where you can pull it in a little closer if you want. And let's release. All right, let's roll over to our side so that we can turn over. And we're going to find our way to extended child's pose. So stretching those hands out way in front of you, resting the forehead down to the mat if that's comfortable. Sitting back toward those heels. Giving yourself permission to return to this posture anytime you need it during our practice. All right, adding some movement so we can get warmed up. Let's inhale as we rock forward into a kneeling plank. Feel the abs engage, the core helps stabilize. And let's take it back as we exhale. Inhale, coming into that kneeling plank. Exhaling as we stretch it back. And when you're ready, you can add that chaturanga move in here, pressing up and then stretching back to that extended child's pose. We're trying to keep those elbows in, really close by our sides, so those arms don't pop out away from the body. That way we're working the back of the arm, the tricep, building that strength there. Keeping the core zipped in. We don't want to let the tummy or hips touch down to the floor when we lower. Let's do 2 more, and then we'll meet back in that extended child's pose. And now we'll turn this into our little half series vinyasa. So inhaling as we come out into the kneeling plank, let's exhale as we lower down with control as those elbows stay in close. We're gonna inhale, sliding forward into cobra, engaging the low back, not pressing with the hands here. And then we'll exhale as we press back to where we started. Inhaling out, exhaling on the way down. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, find your way back. Let's do that 2 more times. into our first downward facing dog. So we're going to tuck those toes under. We're going to lift that tailbone up nice and high. And let's start by walking our feet, pressing through one heel and then the other. Let's meet in downward facing dog. Feel like you're trying to push the mat out in front of you, tipping that tailbone up nice and high. And now let's go back and forth from full plank right back to that downward facing dog. So lots of control as you lower slowly into plank. So being sure to find that spot for the hands and feet where you don't have to move them. They stay glued to the same spot as you go back and forth between these two poses. And let's meet back in down dog. And now we'll turn that into our half series vinyasa. So inhaling into full plank, you have the option to put your knees down here if you'd like. We're going to exhale as we lower with control. We're going to inhale, you can stick with cobra or you can go to upward facing dog. We're going to exhale back to down dog. So inhaling as we come out, exhaling as we come down. Inhaling as we go back up, exhaling as we go back. Let's do that 2 more times. Put some softness in our knees now, and we're going to walk those feet up toward our hands. You can bring your block in here if you'd like. If it's hard for you to touch the floor, bring that block in, make it a little easier for you. We're going to walk the feet, press through one heel and then the other. Good, now let's put some softness in the knees, both heels down. We're going to rest our torso on top of those quads so we can release our arms and shoulders and our head and neck, finding our easy forward fold. And now on our next inhale, we're going to come up halfway, half lift, straightening the back, straightening the legs, and then exhale as we release back to that forward fold. Inhaling half lift, your choice with the arms. They can stay on the front of the legs or be up by your sides, your choice. Let's do one more, and then we'll meet back in that easy forward fold. So now let's inhale as we sweep those arms all the way up, and we'll exhale as we do our swan dive, hinging at the hips, coming down with a flat back, and then softening the knees to reach for the floor. Inhaling up, exhaling on the way down. One more swan dive. Let's inhale up, and this time we're going to exhale and sit back and find our chair pose. Leave a little space in between those knees. Feel the weight move into the heels. Find your good breathing. Let's flow our chair. Inhale, sweeping up. Let's exhale as we sit back. Let's meet down in this next chair. An option, you can stay with the weight back in the heels, or you can try that balancing chair, lifting onto the balls of the feet and the toes. Come on up and shake it out a little bit. Grab a sip of water if you want. Okay, we're going to put all that together for our sun salutations. So let's find our way to the top of our mat, and we'll start in our good mountain pose. Spreading the toes, feel your feet root and ground into your yoga mat. Zip the abdominals up and in. Feel that spine lengthen. Feel yourself grow taller. Let's roll the shoulders up and then back. And then let's reach through those fingertips to pull the shoulders away from the ears. All right, let's inhale, sweeping those arms up. Let's exhale as we swan dive. Hands come down to the mat. We're going to take our right knee back first. Our left knee follows. We'll find our extended child's pose. Let's do one vinyasa here. And then let's bring just the right foot to the top of our mat here. All right, we want to have that knee stacked over the ankle. So we don't want the knee hanging out over the toes. That's important. And then let's see if we can scoot the left knee back just a little bit further. So we get a little more opening in that hip flexor and in this right hip. So now from here, you can bring the block into play here. We're going to try to drop down into a lizard pose and see if we can bring ourselves a little lower and get a little opening in this hip. Some of you may be able to even take those elbows all the way down to the floor here. Your choice. Some of you may need to be up higher on the block. Tip that block on one of its higher levels if you need to. All right, let's come on up. You can move that block out of the way, and we're gonna bring the left foot up to meet the right. And we're gonna inhale, half lift. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, sweeping up. Exhaling into chair. Inhaling up. And we'll swan dive it down and do the other side. Hands come down, left knee leads us back. Right follows. Find that child's pose. And let's move through our half series. And we're going to step up with just the left foot this time. Make sure that knee is stacked over the ankle. Scoot that right knee back a little bit. And let's bring the block in if you need it. Giving you something to drop down onto, bringing both arms on the inside of this leg. Little lizard pose.